My M36 wife, a 34, cheated on me back in 2019. I was blindsided and I wanted to share because I was told my reaction was a little unhealthy. After I was played like some kind of fool, I wanted to understand why some women were so untrustworthy. My wife had showed me she had no loyalty, even though I did what I needed to keep her happy. Me and my wife got married 6 years ago, and we were in a good place from the beginning. I worked handling the accounts at my company, and she was a STNA nurse when I met her. We rented a nice house and wasn't in any real debt. We excelled in managing our finances, so spending was never a concern. Our communication flowed effortlessly, and we functioned flawlessly as a team. The physical aspect of our relationship came naturally, as she possessed timeless beauty and consistently maintained her appearance. Our family dynamics were harmonious, and her brother, Jacob, and I were practically inseparable. Thanks to their mother, Jacob secured a job as a custodian at the hospital where my wife worked, and we always kept a watchful eye over him. My wife exemplified independence, possessing a strong ability to think for herself. Her unwavering confidence demanded respect from both me and Jacob. Although we didn't have children, I strongly believe that if we did, she would serve as a remarkable source of inspiration. However, the issue with her was the presence of toxic friends in her life. The manner in which they spoke about each other created an atmosphere of rivalry rather than friendship. They would engage in continuous gossip throughout the week, but would come together and refer to themselves as sisters during social gatherings. Furthermore, they would frequently engage in heated arguments, particularly when under the influence of alcohol. The frequency of their falling outs with each other was countless. Yet the following week, they would embark on a girls' trip together, seemingly on vacation from their conflicts. I had heard that women tend to engage in silent competition with one another, so I considered it to be a usual occurrence. Although it could be irksome, I chose to focus on the positive aspects and accepted it as the norm among the 5 of them. The affair occurred during the time when her friend Erica was on the verge of getting married. It was customary to have a wild party before the wedding, so my wife and her friends went out that night to celebrate Erica's planned party at a hotel. Knowing they would be out all night, I didn't bother waiting up for her. A couple of days after the wedding, as I was preparing to take a shower that evening, I heard my phone ringing in the bedroom. Unsure if that was indeed the sound I heard, I proceeded to take my shower. Upon exiting the shower, I noticed that I had 6 missed calls, all originating from the same unidentified number. It struck me as peculiar, so I refrained from returning the call since I had no knowledge of the caller's identity. While I was in the living room, the same number rang again, and despite my unfamiliarity with it, I chose to answer the call. Initially, there was no response on the other end, only the faint sound of a girl conversing with a guy in the background. After uttering hello 3 times without receiving a reply, I decided to terminate the call. Subsequently, the phone rang once more, and without hesitation, I swiftly answered. This time, it was the girl who responded, and I recognized her as one of my wife's friends. I inquired why she was calling, and let's refer to her as Jasmine for convenience. Jasmine wasted no time and began hurling insults at my wife, claiming that she had cheated on me during the party. This revelation instilled genuine fear within me, but I managed to assert that Jasmine didn't know what she was talking about. She confirmed her knowledge and mentioned having recorded it as evidence to share with me. Curious, I inquired about the subject she was referring to, and she proceeded to disclose all the details. According to her account, during Erica's party, they had arranged for some male dancers to entertain the guests. It turned out that my wife had shown a particular interest in one of the dancers, which led him to persistently engage with her. Eventually, he overstepped boundaries with her. The revelation was difficult to comprehend, yet I couldn't ignore the unfortunate reality that such occurrences are not uncommon. After a minute of silence on my end, Jasmine offered to send the evidence directly to my phone. Agreeing to her proposition, I requested her to proceed with sending it. She advised me to hang up while she prepared to send the files. Approximately 5 minutes later, 4 video files appeared on my phone, and as I viewed them, I collapsed onto my couch, overwhelmed by the undeniable proof they contained. Gathering myself, I dialed Jasmine's number again. When she answered, she inquired if I had received the files. Struggling to find my voice amidst the emotional turmoil, I managed to confirm that I had indeed received them. Jasmine, filled with regret for her previous actions, resumed disparaging my wife and expressed apologies for her behavior. I questioned Jasmine about why she would betray someone she considered her sister, but she evaded giving a direct answer. Instead, she criticized my wife and her friends, labeling them as hypocrites and fakes. Curious about how Jasmine obtained my number, she reminded me that my wife had dialed her from my phone to ask for directions to a restaurant for her dinner party. Jasmine declared that she was finished with their friendship and revealed that Erica was also engaged in questionable activities. She suggested discussing the matter with my wife, but I informed her that my wife was currently at another friend's house while I was the one on the call. After ending the call, I felt my world shattering into pieces. I knew I had to confront my wife about the situation. The 4 complete videos showing her with another man left me devastated. I couldn't fathom the implications this would have on my life, nor could I comprehend how she could betray me in this way. I had always been skeptical of these parties, never fully trusting them, but I never imagined it would happen to me. To make matters worse, I wasn't even invited to such gatherings. When my wife finally arrived home, I mustered up the courage to confront her the moment she walked through the door. I asked her how she was doing, to which she replied that she was tired but fine. I proceeded to mention that I never inquired about Erica's party and whether she had a good time. She appeared slightly taken aback, but casually responded that it was fine. I then revealed that Jasmine had informed me about her having a great time and even recording some moments to show me later. She appeared startled, her expression filled with unease, as she questioned me about the topic of our conversation. In response, I presented her with the incriminating videos capturing her intimate encounter with the other man from that night. Initially, her jaw descended in shock, and then she let out a piercing scream upon witnessing the damning footage. Desperation filled her voice as she pleaded with me not to abandon her, revealing that Jasmine's actions were fueled by resentment. Apparently, my wife had replaced Jasmine with someone else to serve as one of Erica's bridesmaids, triggering a heated confrontation between them. As a consequence, Erica had uninvited Jasmine from the wedding ceremony. Upon hearing this explanation, I could somewhat understand why Jasmine harbored resentment, though her extreme retaliation still seemed unjustifiable. Her reaction didn't sway my decision, as I informed her that I intended to pursue a divorce, and that's precisely what I did. Throughout the entire divorce process, our families urged us to reconcile, despite acknowledging that her actions were inexcusable. They argued that it was a special night for her and the other man, and I was never meant to discover the truth. However, I pointed out that such a significant event should have been reserved for the bride alone, and even if my wife had been the bride, I wouldn't have stayed with her. It was beyond belief that my wife would engage in such behavior with this individual, especially in a public setting. Even after the divorce was finalized, I found myself unable to let go of the situation. I reached out to male dancers and sought their advice on how to attract women. Additionally, I sought the perspective of women themselves. While the women I spoke to claimed they did not engage in such activities, they mentioned knowing other women who would participate for additional income. On the other hand, the male dancers I approached boasted about their success in attracting women, particularly those who were brides-to-be. According to one individual, the dynamics surrounding such encounters were not initially prevalent. However, he mentioned that over time, women themselves began expressing their desires for such interactions, ultimately making it a normalized practice. When I shared this information with my friends, they expressed concern and deemed it unhealthy, advising me to cease contact with those individuals. At the time, I suppose I was grappling with the situation in my own way, and I personally didn't see anything inherently wrong with it. Nevertheless, I couldn't shake the persistent thoughts of those videos, especially considering the fact that the man involved was aware of the covert recordings. Right now, my ex-wife lives in her own apartment close to her job somewhere. I used to see her family once in a while, and they still asked me to forgive her because of the circumstance, but I can't do it. I hate to admit it, but Jasmine was right when she said my ex-wife was a fake friend, but apparently her love was fake too. Now she don't regret it, I hear. Thank you for listening to the story to the end, and if you like it, please support us with a like as well as subscribe to our channel. Write in the comments what you think